All right, guys, we got a good one today. Listen, while everybody has been talking about Charlie Kirk and Starbucks and, all of these controversies, all of these smoke and mirrors, there's been a lot going on in the world, very dangerous things. And we're going to break them down today because enough people are not understanding what is really at play right now. We've all been too distracted by these smoke and mirrors that the Trump administration is throwing at us. So, what has happened in this past week? Well, for one, obviously, we know that Israel continues its assault on Gaza and the genocide continues. But what a lot of people don't know is they have now sent in their ground invasion to Gaza City, and they are literally just annihilating people on the streets. Thousands of people in this past week alone have already been killed or maimed, and it is completely out of control. At the same time, the entire world, except for the United States, is all turning on Israel and cutting ties with Israel because they see what is happening is absolutely grotesque and a violation of just human conscience, regardless of your political leanings or your religion. It is just unconscionable what is happening. So that's one thing that's been happening. But let's talk about some of the stuff that's been happening right here in the United States as well, because this is pretty important. If we go over to X and check this out, it is absolutely insane what is happening right now. So, right now, if you look over here, I was not a supporter of Harris at all. I thought she was just a continuation of the Biden administration, which, in my opinion, was not that good to begin with. But at the same time, I mean, we're talking about Donald Trump too. So, maybe we should have elected Harris. I don't know. But this is pretty funny what she says here. I mean, is she's spot on in this debate. So let's check.
Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch. Putin would be sitting in.
Oh, eat you for lunch. Trump is eating his lunch too, man. It's pretty pathetic. Look at this picture right here. Trump, Xi Jinping, Kim Jong Un. I mean, all three dictators. I would say out of them, though, obviously China is a one-party system, but it is nowhere near dictatorial as these two over here are. It is kind of night and day with China versus, Kim Jong Un just being an absolute dictator. He's the one who makes all the decisions. Or at least in China, they do have a national Congress where, yes, she is in charge, but they have a lot more say and they're a lot better organized and way less corrupt than either one of these. But yeah, Putin right now, he is just playing a master class of completely working Donald Trump, man. It's pretty embarrassing. Listen, here's the thing. The Pentagon informed the European Union or Europe, the NATO allies, diplomats, that the U.S. will partially halt military assistance to the Baltic nations and NATO states bordering Russia. The Pentagon believes the incursion of Russian fighter jets to Estonia airspace was intentional. So why are we pulling back assistance to our NATO allies? Listen, this has been endemic of the United States pretty much since the Vietnam War. We abandoned our allies in Vietnam and allowed a slaughter to take place. We have abandoned our allies in Laos and in Cambodia and allowed slaughters to take place. We did it to the Kurds. We told them, if you fight against Saddam Hussein, will support you. And then when it all started, the United States did absolutely nothing and allowed them to get slaughtered. Then we told the Sunnis in Iraq in the Second World War, hey, if you guys stand up to Al Qaeda, we'll defend you. And then we pulled out, and then the Shia came in and just started slaughtering them in the streets. I mean, we've done this over and over and over and over again. And so it's not a surprise to me that the United States right now is pulling out of its obligations of NATO, something that we have been in for a very long time. And it has benefited the United States, despite the fact the United States is the biggest military contributor to it. It has very much benefited the United States because that NATO allyship has allowed us to sell military hardware to Europe in the hundreds of billions of dollars. And so that has directly impacted our economy and made some very some people very, very rich. And so now we're just going to pull out, and we're just going to basically, what this is doing is this is going to embolden Russia. Russia now can say, well, hey, wait a minute, if the United States isn't going to defend against us, then we can pretty much do whatever we want in our region. And here's one of the more scary things, and we're going to get into this in a second, is that the Trump administration is saying that we're going to be more focused at home, defending the homeland. Okay, that's a pretty cryptic message. Who's attacking the homeland? Well, we'll get into that here in just a second. Pretty interesting tweet here from Peter Beadle. Yeah, don't ever try to tell Trump isn't a Russian asset. A day after Russian fighter jets violated Estonian airspace and shortly after Russia drones entered and crashed into Poland and Romania, we're drawing down. How differently would a Russian agent behave? I mean, it makes pretty good sense to me. And then we have here, it's obviously the end of NATO. It's no coincidence that exactly after 3 MiGs enter Estonia, the USA comes up with that. It's the betrayal like never seen before, and it will unfold 2028 with Vance. If we don't ramp up military by 200%, we will face consequences. Good luck. And you can see here is Estonia, here is Russia. So this is where they flew the MiGs into Estonian airspace. They've been doing it in Poland and Romania as well, doing incursions there, just kind of flexing. That it seems to be, to me, like they're flexing on their neighbors to intimidate. Again, Childless Cat Lady says, I can barely remember the days when America was right there with Europe, no matter which party was in charge. I used to take pride to see us on those lists. The flags, which my World War II father fought under, no longer means anything to me. So when the Trump administration is talking about we have to defend the homeland, who are we talking about? Because there's been a lot going on in the news right now with Jimmy Kimmel being forced out. And listen, Stephen Colbert, we all know that was through the Trump administration. It was not CBS willingly doing that. And now Trump is basically saying that free speech against him is illegal. Check this out.
A landslide ×2 when you have that level of popularity or voter support, as I did in the last election, and yet 97 and 94%, different numbers. You see different numbers with different stats, but 97, 94, 95, 96% of the people are against me in the sense of the newscasts are against me. The stories are they said 97% bad. So they gave me 97. They'll take a great story and they'll make it bad. See, I think that's really illegal.
He thinks that's illegal. He thinks it's illegal to have negative press. You're the biggest public figure in the world. Of course you're going to have negative press. But to say that it's illegal to say anything defaming about me as the president, that's dictatorship. That's Viktor Orban. That is Putin. That's Kim Jong-un. And now we're living in that, guys. We have our very own wannabe dictator right here in the United States, and it is getting bad. Trump's new free speech app forbids any speech which is critical of him or his app. I think it says or him, but I think it's supposed to say of him. Develop or distribute any automated system, including without limitation or spider robot, cheat, utility scraper, offline reader that accesses the site using launching and any unauthorized script or other software. And then here it is, number 23 of their usage rules. Disparage, tarnish, or otherwise harm, in our opinion, us and or the site. Who is us? Who is we in this situation? Donald Trump is talking about Truth Social, or as I like to call Untrue Social. Trump is no longer for free speech. He never really was for free speech. As long as it's him being able to say the misogynist, racist, bigoted stuff that comes out of his mouth and the people that support him, that should be protected. But if you say anything negative against him, that should not be protected. It is really dystopian times that we are coming in here. Pete Hegseth, the panel on The View is avoiding any and all Oh, this says Pete Hegseth's liver. This is not Pete Hegseth, by the way. This is somebody making fun of him. The panel on The View is avoiding any and all comment on Jimmy Kimmel's show getting pulled. They're afraid of retribution and punishment. The First Amendment is dying. This one here, Vincent says, interesting that The View did not address or mention what's happening with Jimmy Kimmel at all. Guess ABC gave them their marching orders. Shameful that the biggest hot topic wasn't touched at all. And now we know why. Check this out. This tells you everything that you need to know.
All of this more often than Jimmy Kimmel. I'm thinking specifically of The View. And President Trump himself has mentioned Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers at NBC. Just wondering, do you have comments on those shows? And are they doing what Kimmel did Monday night? And is it even worse on those programs, in your opinion?
Well, look, you can be unfunny. That's fine. And a lot of people are sort of saying that, well, people are punishing Kimmel because they don't like a joke that he told. But, we don't need to rehash it here. But obviously what he said was not a joke.
Actually, what he said was 100% a joke. He was making fun of MAGA and he was making fun of Donald Trump, basically already over it one day in, and he's already over Charlie Kirk's death, and all he wants to talk about is his golden ballroom.
It wasn't presented at all that way. But when you look at these other TV shows, what's interesting is,
and since when did Brendan Carr, the FCC chairman, become the regulator of what is and what is not a joke?
The FCC does have a rule called the equal opportunity rule, which means, for instance, if you're in the run to an election, you have one, partisan elected official on, you have to give equal time, equal opportunity to the opposing.
Now, wait, watch how he twists the facts here. The equal opportunity rule is during an election. What election is happening right now? There is no election happening right now. This is he can't use this rule as an excuse. He is twisting the facts here.
Partisan politician. So far, so good. But there's an exception to that rule called the bona fide news exception, which means if you are a bona fide news program, you don't have to abide by the equal opportunity rule. And over the years, the FCC has developed a body of case law on that, and has suggested that most of these late night shows, other than SNL, are bona fide news programs. And potentially, I would assume you could make the argument that The View is a bona fide news show, but I'm not so sure about that. And
there you have it right there. So what he's trying to do is he's going to turn the rule of the bona fide exemption to where, or the bona fide news exemption, he's going to change the rule to make The View in violation of FCC rules by not playing fair and having conservatives on their show all the time. First of all, The View does have conservatives on their show all the time. They have people from the right on their show all the time. I don't like their show. I think their show is a bunch of chicks just sitting there gossiping, and it's annoying to me. It's not very informational. I'm not misogynist or anything. It's just not my thing, right? If they were a bunch of chicks up there educating me about something important, that would be absolutely different. But it's called The View. It, in their spin-offs and stuff. Basically, it's just for a bunch of women to sit there and gossip. So I don't like the show. I'm not defending the show as it's some great bastion of America's intellectual elites. No, it's not. That's not what their show about. It is raw entertainment for women who like that type of entertainment. And that's their thing. But he is trying to make it more palatable for what they are going to do in getting rid of any political opponents. Now, listen, during the 1930s Germany with Hitler, this was exactly what they did. They don't have to get rid of The View. They don't have to get rid of Fallon. They don't have to get rid of these guys. They have to take out one or two of the biggest high-profile guys. They've already done that. And that it will create self-censorship. That's exactly what's happening right now. And what you've seen was that during the 1930s Germany, all of the media started self-censoring. And then the cronyism happened, where they were forced to sell themselves to the oligarchs who were loyal to Adolf Hitler. The same thing has happened in Russia. The same thing has happened in other countries. And that's the playbook here. And it's happening. They're trying to get the Ellison family right now to be amongst the top distributors and owners of all airwaves. By the way, if you're still watching something on regular TV, if you're not just streaming like YouTube or social media or something, I don't know. Maybe you're like 75 years old or something. So for me, these shows literally have zero meaning anymore. So even if they get rid of them, what they're failing to understand is the 1930s, you only had the option of basically radio and print newspaper, right? And some black and white TV came in. That was it. So it was easy for them to control. It is not easy to control information in today's age because even these big social media apps, it's difficult for them to stop this kind of information. And now people are waking up to the fact that they're being controlled by these algorithms on these big social media networks. So people are literally figuring out how to create their own insular networks. And it's popping off all over the place. They will literally have to shut the internet down like they tried to do in Nepal lately. And look how that turned out for Nepal. So what's happening right here is absolutely disgraceful. But I think it's a failing strategy for the Trump administration because it's not going to work. They kick Jimmy Kimmel off. Okay, fine. They kick Steve Colbert off. No problem. These dudes just jump on social media and they get just as many views as they did before. So it's a losing strategy for them. I don't think it's going to work. I think at the end of the day, free speech with all the technology and the ability that we have and very smart people with the internet, it is just going to continue to proliferate no matter what you try to do to squash it. As long as people don't start self-censoring, the people who capitulate in media, those are the ones who are doing a disservice not only to themselves because it's not going to protect you. He hates The View. You think not talking about Jimmy Kimmel's going to save your career? Ladies, it's not. It's not. Him and his cronies, they want you back in the kitchen and off of TV. They don't want to hear your opinions. So this capitulation, well, I'm really, one thing, I'm going to say this, man. I'm from Northern California, right? I've never known a liberal black woman to ever allow a white man to shut her up. I just haven't. Like, not even a black man can't shut her up. Once you upset her, you are not going to hear the end of it because they have no fear. But somehow the women, which includes some black women on The View, a white man shuts you up. Do with that what you will. Controversial or not, a white man shuts you up. What you going to do about it? You going to accept that? You going to lay down and accept that? A fat, old, 80-year-old white man told you to shut up, and you did it. You obeyed. I don't know. Maybe they need to get some real sisters on that view. Because the sisters that are on The View right now, I don't know. Maybe you're not real sisters. Maybe you're whitewashed. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today, man. See you in the next Rumble.